It was from a talk by, I think it's Christopher Benjamin. He was talking about hesychasm, Jesus' prayer, and how it's not like yoga. But one of the things he got into talking about was a group, which the name Missalian has been applied to many different groups through history. But the characteristic of this heretical sect, some of the characteristics, was that they wanted to practice prayer unceasingly, but they were so dedicated to this that they felt that it meant that they couldn't work. Because they felt like if they worked or did anything like that, it would be a distraction from prayer. And so they lived by begging, which is actually, other than in rare cases, I think with the holy fools and stuff like that within Orthodoxy, it's not the norm to have groups of monastics that live by begging. But there was some of the characteristics of these guys, and so they went and they were having a conversation that Dr. Benjamin recounts in his talk about this. That they were talking with one of the elders, one of the Desert Fathers, about unceasing prayer. And he asked them, he said, "Do you ever need to eat?" And they said, "Well, yes, we do. Of course we do." And he said, "Do you pray while you eat?" And again, for these guys, they said, "No, we can't. So we can only do one thing at a time. We can only pray all the time, and we can't do it." And so he says, "Do you ever sleep? Do you need to sleep?" And they said, "Yes, of course we have to sleep." He says, "Do you pray while you sleep?" And they said, "No." And then he said, "Well, let me tell you." And he also knew that they didn't work for the same reason, because if they worked, then they were voluntarily turning away from prayer. And he says, "As I sit and I weave with my hands," because a lot of the fathers in the desert, they would make basketry and stuff like that. They would use reeds to weave things that they would sell. He says, "As I make baskets, I pray. I say, 'God, have mercy on me, a sinner.'" And he said, "And then I go into town and I sell my work, and maybe he gets 3 coins. And he says, and I keep 1 to buy food for myself, and I leave 2 outside for anybody that might need them, for those that are in need, and they come and they take, so that they have enough they can buy food." And he says, "So I pray while I work, and then I pray while I eat, and then when I'm sleeping, those people that I've given alms to pray for me. And so I fulfill the commandment to pray unceasingly." And so it was just a beautiful little story about him talking with you, because these guys had become so, I guess, caught up in the formality of their asceticism, that they had kind of lost their minds about the body, its place in spirituality, the place of that even while we're working with our hands, we can offer prayer to God. And they had a lot of other weird ideas. At the time, probably more ideas, I guess, that were influenced by certain Gnostic ideologies and stuff. But so it was a good story. I wanted to share it with you. God bless you. That's how you pray unceasingly. If you give alms, in addition to your prayers, somebody will be praying for you. So you'll be able to pray unceasingly. You can come forward.